The Nova Shutdown. Amazon just quietly pushed its flagship Nova AI models into maintenance mode, terminating active development on models it claimed would beat OpenAI just months ago. Internal teams call it Keep the Lights On mode. Nova Premier, Omni, and the Canvas generation models are essentially frozen in time. While AWS will maintain API access and security patches for existing enterprise customers, the core research pipeline for these massive foundation models has been officially gutted. And the reason comes down to basic server economics, the cost of competing. Training a 500 billion parameter dense model like Nova Premier requires tying up tens of thousands of specialized chips for months. But AWS is fundamentally an infrastructure company. Their highest margin product is Bedrock, a platform that rents compute and API access for third-party models from Anthropic, Meta, and Cohere. By building Nova, Amazon was burning its own hardware capacity to compete directly against its biggest customers. They realized that spending billions to duplicate the benchmark scores of Claude and Llama was terrible capital allocation. So they stopped digging for gold and went back to selling the heavy machinery. But this shutdown does not mean Amazon is entirely out of the research lab. The pivot to agents. As part of this restructure, Amazon closed its primary AGI lab in San Francisco and laid off dozens of researchers. They are routing all remaining internal compute to a new frontier research group led by Peter Abil. Instead of building generic chat interfaces, this team is strictly focused on verifiable agentic systems. Amazon is mathematically proving how AI agents behave when executing autonomous workflows inside cloud environments. They do not care about passing the bar exam anymore. They want a model that can autonomously provision AWS architecture or rewrite enterprise databases without hallucinating. They cut the teams building consumer-friendly multimodal models to aggressively protect the engineers building enterprise automation, which reveals the actual strategy behind this entire contraction. The signal under the noise. Amazon is not surrendering the AI race. They are dividing the market into commodity reasoning and infrastructure execution. By abandoning the Nova baseline models to focus on agentic frameworks, AWS is signaling to the industry that building a monolithic general-purpose LLM is a loss leader, even for a $2 trillion hyperscaler. For developers building on Bedrock, this means Amazon will likely subsidize third-party API costs to keep you locked into their compute environment, rather than forcing a proprietary model down your throat. For machine learning engineers, it confirms that the raw intelligence of a model is now a pure commodity. The only profitable layers left are the silicon that runs the calculations and the autonomous agents that execute the output. Watch the upcoming reInvent conference carefully. If Abil's new frontier model is unveiled strictly as a background orchestration engine rather than a standalone chatbot, it proves the era of the universal language model is already over. Subscribe for more